This is FX Medicine. I'm Andrew Whitfield Cook, and we're here at the NHAA 100-year anniversary conference 2019. We're speaking with Tina Hausser. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Now, you work as a practitioner, but also you represent the Spanish naturopathic organisation. Is that correct?
That's correct. OCN FENACO.
FILACO.
FENACO.
FINACO.
Yeah, exactly.
I need to learn Spanish. Tell us about your talk, a little bit about what you were talking about before.
So my talk was about naturopathic history, origins of modern practice. So we started a journey 2,600 years back in Greece on a European perspective.
Yeah.
Contributors to the naturopathic profession. We talked about naturopathic philosophies like vitalism, holism, principles and theories, and how they underpin naturopathic practice, how we apply today in our clinics.
And about the evolution of naturopathy, modern naturopathy, let's call it, by the German nature doctors. What was the evolution? What was the need back then?
Mm-hmm. The evolution in the last 150 years was that naturopaths, mainly starting their work in Germany, they maintained the nature cure model, which was always known.
Right.
In Europe, it was always practiced as traditional medicine in Europe. So naturopaths were there to maintain this knowledge. And one of the most important was Sebastian Kneipp, who then brought the naturopathic knowledge to his students, and they spread it all over the world.
And you said traditional medicine there, and indeed this is one of the World Health Organization's hopes for peoples around the world, to retain their traditional medicine system. Tell us a little bit about that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Every region has its traditional system of medicine, like here Aboriginal medicine, like in South America, Maya culture, indigenous medicine. In Europe, it's naturopathy. So WHO has a department for traditional medicines where they pretty much identify, codify traditional Chinese medicine is very far ahead, because this was the first traditional system which was really good identified. There was a lot of economic help from the government from China as well, so that makes a big difference. Naturopathy is part of that. And so there is a World Naturopathic Federation which started collaboration with the WHO, not yet official, but very close to be in a traditional system of medicines. And our president, Dr. Alva Lloyd, and our secretary, John Wardle, they have been just at the Astana Health Care Conference in Kazakhstan this year, or last year, to make sure that traditional systems of medicine, especially naturopathy, is part of the discussion.
Now, I was speaking with Iva and John yesterday, but one of the questions that I didn't ask was the reason behind the importance of retaining this traditional medicine. Is it more from threatened cultures, or is it indeed for healthcare access?
It is indeed for patient care, health care. So patient-centered health care does identify the need of bringing back the naturopathic knowledge, natural medicine systems, modalities to common health. So the need is to bring back nature related to medicine, related to health, to bring a better service to our patients.
And we mentioned the nature cure doctors of Germany. Was there equivalent evolution, if you like, of naturopathic medicine systems in other parts of Europe, like for instance Spain and Italy and things like that? Do you find any commonalities in how natural medicine practitioners approach health?
Yes, absolutely. Naturopathic medicine and naturopathy is practiced in all world regions. In Europe as a traditional system, in other world regions as a complementary system, like in Australia. And we have in pretty much 81 countries all over the world identified naturopathy and naturopathic practitioners. So this is a 40% of all countries in the world, and this is pretty much. We know about 100,000 naturopathic practitioners all over the world. They have been trained in Europe or North America, where first schools started, and Western Pacific has a great educational system where they train a lot of naturopathic practitioners, and we hope that this number grows.
And what about a unification worldwide of teaching practices, a standard or a minimum standard at least, from where varying regions can differ from? Is there any work to have a world stage, if you like, for naturopaths, or natural medicine, I should say?
So starting from a minimum standard of educational naturopathic education is published by the WHO, benchmarks of naturopathic training. The World Naturopathic Federation has also contributed in an educational document, not setting up standards because we are not an accredited system, but we identify which kind of educational standards exist in world regions so that different educational institutes can learn from each other, exchange curricula, setting up their programs, bringing in the naturopathic roots as philosophies and principles to the program. So this is very active. There is an educational committee in the WNF, and they work very active to exchange their experiences and knowledge.
And do you find a dichotomy, or do you find that there's real differences in, say, the Western approach, where we talk about standardized education and knowledge of physiology and pathophysiology and anatomy and that sort of stuff, to the traditional healers, where it was passed down word of mouth, where healers were identified and it was a sort of rite of honor, the shamans. Do you find these sort of, I hope I'm not being glib when I say ancient cultures, do you find there's a difference or indeed similarity?
I can talk about naturopathy and the traditional system in Europe. There is no difference because I can't talk about Aboriginal or South American indigenous traditional systems, yeah. But in naturopathy, all educational institutes teach basic science. The difference is in the number of hours, and the difference is depending on countries' legalization, if they teach, for example, IV therapies, right, injections and things like that. But naturopathy is pretty much all over the same, but it varies in number of hours.
And what about standards of care? If we're looking at, let's say, Western medicine, orthodox medicine, then there's there's comparisons across the world, let's say in oncology outcomes from various countries. Is there any attempt by the World Health Organization to look at comparators of care with different access by the practitioners or different levels of accreditation by the practitioners?
Patient safety is first. Of patient safety, that's all why in healthcare, standardization, educational standards are getting into increasing number of hours, for example. It's all about patient safety, absolutely.
And so, forward, what's the future hold? Where do we need to go? What do we need to remember as we move forward?
I think most important is the combination between the naturopathic roots and the modern research background the naturopathic profession has, and to by this embracing the whole world which is happening if I see here in Western Pacific the amount of research papers done, if I see in Europe the strong naturopathic history, and we are now working together and uniting the profession on all levels, traditional, modern, naturopaths, naturopathic doctors. I think this is the future, and this makes us strong then.
Tina Hausser, thanks so much for joining us on FX Medicine today.
I thank you.
This is FX Medicine. I'm Andrew Whitfield Cook.